Shiva, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, let me start, sir.
We can start, right?
Yeah, start.
Okay, fine. So, good morning, everybody, and it's Saturday, and I'm sorry for disturbing you all. Hope everyone had breakfast as well. So, fine. So, I'll start with a small intro of myself. So, I'm Shiva, and like my full name is Shiva Subramanian. So, I'm working for Volvo as a technical lead for almost more than 1.5 year, and I have overall 9+ years of experience into IT industry. So, I'm working on different technologies, and I always want to whatever new stuff's coming into the market in new technology, I'm just keen to learn those stuff. So if you want to survive in IT industry, you have to keep updating your skills. So that's very important thing. So that's main thing, you have to be in IT. So that's all pretty much intro about me. So I'll start with the session. So today we are going to cover I'm not going to much deep into Amazon Web Services because that will be so confusing for you, as well as I don't want to give a I'm just getting into something very big stuff. So just to give a clear picture, and I'll just give interest so that you can start learning AWS, because that's going to be a very big thing in future, right? So I'll share my screen. Please acknowledge when you can see my screen. People can see my screen. Can someone reply?
It's visible.
All right, okay, thanks. All right, so I'll start with. I actually, I had no interest to create a PPT. I just wanted to give you a go through and like a normal, a real kind of interaction session. But I thought like to give us some more information, I wanted to create a PPT as well, so presentation. And I always make it within 10 to 12, slides, not more than that, because if it goes more than that, you'll feel heavy. So I just try to reduce as much as possible. So what we're going to cover today is just like what is Amazon Web Services and normal, just a casual overview of it, not so deep into that. So before you get into what is AWS, you should know what is actually cloud computing. So I hope you people have some basic idea of what is cloud computing. So what is cloud computing? It's like morely you have everything on the remote side. As a person, you no need to do any kind of configuration, any deployment, or you no need to choose your operating system. You no need to worry about all those stuff. So everything can be taken care in the cloud. Like you have option to choose whatever it is, or like the manage what you want to manage is very less. You don't need to manage anything very tough, difficult. Like I want to have 4 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, like this much of db hard disk and all those stuff. So it's all everything's happening in the remote. So there are three main categories in the cloud computing. One is software as a service, which we call it as SaaS, and PaaS, which is platform as a service. Another one is infrastructure as a service. So I'm just giving I'm showing you on the screen what is SaaS, what is PaaS, and what is as. Like as means like I think I don't want to go more. It's a very common thing which you can see from the screen itself. So what is SaaS, PaaS, as is like as means like you will get every infrastructure, the basic infrastructure, in the cloud itself. Platform, like what you want to develop and applications and projects, so everything over the complete platform will be there as in cloud as well. Software, whatever service, for example, if you have Microsoft Office or like any other software, so that will be available as a service for you. You no need to install, follow the step by step, to install those things. It like you just log in, you just get it to access. So that's all the basic thing. What is these are the main three categories in SaaS. And if you have any doubt, you can just in between, you can just say hello, or you can just ask, start asking, no problem. So these are the main things about cloud computing which you have to keep in mind before you start anything related to cloud. Basically these are the things are which are very important. Fine, so we'll just get into AWS. So what is AWS? Why we need AWS? So that is I'm going to cover now. So AWS is actually more of an infrastructure as a service, but it's actually mixture of all. It has like platform, software, and everything. So and it is like you have a lot of products available inside this, and AWS offers almost 160 or 160 plus services available. For example, I'll just give I'll give an example, like whether you want to develop something, or mobile development, or deployment, or if you want to create a virtual machine, or storage, or DB, or just like your hard disk, you can create one more cloud remote component as well. So it's like you have all the options available as well. So which is, and why it is more successful, it is easy to use and it's up to date. And like a lot of people are using, and when it is Amazon, you are getting it from a reliable source. So that's the main factor why Amazon is very successful. So all right, so why AWS? What is the why people are going for more into AWS? And if you compare, like actually the current market competitors for AWS is like Azure as service and GCP, called cloud computing. So Google Cloud. So why AWS is more famous and more customers have, it's like because it has more flexibility to use, easy to use, and scalability. When scalability is there everywhere, and like in Azure also it is there, and in Google also it is there. But in Amazon, it's like completely automated. If you want, you can completely automate the scalability. What I mean scalability, so for example, I have a system, and I have a website. If 100 people are, I designed a website where only 100 people can access at a time. I hope you guys know what is actually traffic means. Net traffic means. So 100 people can access the website. So my website suddenly becomes so success. For example, if you take Facebook, when it started, the actual traffic would be bit lesser. But now if you take, we have like billions of users every day logging in, logging out, right? So so those things are like you, for these kind of scenarios, the number of servers, number of requests has to be increased automatically, because you cannot put someone to just put someone to see the screen, like okay, the 100 requests I'm getting. So someone has to go and keep, if it is more 100 requests, I have to instant one more service, install one more instance of the same service. That's like pretty much like, it's not impossible, but it's very, very, very difficult to manage. For example, if you're getting 1 million requests a day, you cannot deploy like 100 people to take care of that. It's very, 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 it's like kind of very expensive, and it's like completely unwanted, because when there is a manual thing, there are a lot of possibility of human errors, right? So scalability, what I'll do is, if I'll set a threshold for my website. So I'll deploy my website in one location. I'll just keep increasing the number of instances. For example, if one website has 10 instances, so whenever the number of if my website has more than 100 incoming requests, and then actually what Amazon can divert the next coming 100 request into one more instance, other instance. So it's like you no need to do anything manually. Amazon take care of it. If you're depends on more number of requests, more number of instance will get created. So that's called scalability. So I hope you got what. So better monitoring, what I said is like, in Amazon there is something called a cloud watch. So that's one of the concept, that's a very important thing. And so monitoring means like, if I put some human to monitor all my requests, all my service, all my log, all my website and everything, that's pretty much very difficult task, and there are a lot of possibility for human errors. But what is actually happening is it takes care of everything automatically. So if a server is running, if it is down, or what is the reason for the down, and why it is down, it will give information for you, it will notify you why it is down. And if it is down, it can go and fix and restart the server automatically. And further there are some more things involved, but a basic thing which Amazon can do is these things it can do: monitor everything automatically, whether it is health is okay, or it is in some bad state, or it is like need to monitor. So all those things are possible. So what is mean by zero downtime? So zero downtime in the sense, like if you take any banking product like HDFC, ICICI, or any banking website, people will be logging in, transferring the money, and like getting the money. So all these things will happen, right? So if the application goes down for a minute or two, think about the consequences or the pressure, how much they will be handling that time, because they have to take care of everything manually, or like they'll be getting a lot of calls and all those stuff. So I want to make sure my application is not even down for a minute, or I just want to keep it up and running all the time. If you take my current application, so our application is like it's one of the very high revenue generating application. What I'm working in Volvo, so we cannot let the application go down for even a second. That's extreme case sometimes happens, but we cannot let it go. So what will happen is we just take care of, we have to make sure that it is not going down for even a minute. I mean, down in the sense like application getting crashed or server getting crashed or you are not able to access the application. So that is called actually a downtime. So with Amazon Web Services, you have multiple instances up and running. So even one instance goes down, the other instance can make it possible that people can access the other instances. So that's what called a zero downtime. So where you are not letting your service go down even for a minute, so it will be keep running up and running. And when you want to the main thing is like, if I want to set up a company or if I want to set up some small company or big company, taking care of hardware is very very hectic task, to be frank. Like if I want to set up a company with only 20 PCs, so 20 PC means 20 systems, whether it's a laptop or a disk or whatever it is. So I have to keep in mind a lot of things, like the CPU size, RAM, actual hard disk, and memory, graphics card, etc, blah blah, like cables, connections, a lot of stuffs involved in that. So because like you should have separate room for server and everything. But here in this case, all you need is like, if you want to access a virtual machine, you just have to configure it, and just you have a laptop. That's pretty much easy. It's laptop is up to your choice, whatever you want to go for. If you want to access something, you just create an instance. I mean, I'm going to show you that what is easy instance. So you don't need to worry about what is RAM, what is hard disk space, or like graphics card, cable, etc, nothing. I mean, space, everything I'm talking about. Space means like physical space, like if you take a company, if you go for a company, like every company has a cubicle space for every employee. So that's like, so those kind of thing I'm just talking about actual hardware. So you don't need to worry about everything. You just enter username, password, login, you start working just like that. So that's what I'm talking about. No extra human effort, effort needed for hardware. And fast content delivery. So what is fast content delivery? So whenever you try to access any content, it's a website, or if it is going to be some software you want to retrieve and install in your local system, or any movies or any kind of videos, HTML files or CSS, etc, anything, whatever it is. So Amazon has one concept called it has like edge locations. Like edge location in the sense, I'll explain that bit. I'll just give you a clear, I mean, a small information here. Deep will just go forward next. So edge location means like for Asia Pacific and like Europe, or like so every, they have one server installed everywhere. I mean, so what it is like, whatever file you try to access, the file, the Amazon makes sure the file is available for you from the nearby location. So for example, if I have a website developed by US people, and a server is actually in Australia. So if I try to access, the time what I try to access is, it might, there is a possibility it might go for extra time, it will take some time. But if the service is available within India or like China, which is pretty close than Australia, I can say. So I mean, if it is like so those kind of locations, it's pretty easy. The location, the distance is very less, and content delivery will be very fast. And the main thing why Amazon is very success, pay for what they use. I mean, what you actually use, in the sense like if I'm creating one instance or any deployment server or anything, either a DB or anything you can create, or any service, or any cloud storage unit, you just pay if you are using. For example, if the service is up and running, only for those running time you are going to pay. If I want the service available for someone for only 1 hour, you just make it run for only 1 hour, and then after that you no need to I mean, after that you can stop the service or you can terminate if you don't want. So after that you are not going to pay anything. So that too, only for that 1 hour, like 30 minutes or 20 minutes or anything, whatever it is, only for that time you are going to pay. You are not going to pay for anything else, keeping the server in AWS or so. You are not going to pay for anything else. You are just going to pay for what you are actually using if the service is up and running. So these all are, I mean, I might have missed one or two things, but these all are the main factors why you go for AWS. Is that clear? So any doubts?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right, thank you. So fine. So we'll go for next slide. Okay, so these are the actual services provided by AWS. So you might see like there are a hell lot of stuff. They have they have a lot of hell lot of stuff. A lot of things involved. Whether it is deployment, application, storage or networking or anything you can say. One second, I'll just hide this. Right. So they have everything. They have almost everything covered under AWS. So you can see application services like SNS, SCS, and everything. I mean, you might be get bit confused like what is all these things. Yeah, I'll just, I'm not going to explain everything to you, just only few important things. So DBs are there where you can use DB services, or like if you want to use some storage you can use, or computing. So they have almost 160 plus of them, around 100 plus services. I think 160 or 170 services available. So depends on you, like you can just make use of whatever available first. So I'm just getting a bit deep. I'm not going to cover all the services, which is not pretty much possible. So I'm going to cover only these 6 services, which is essential and bit very important to learn. And if when you have time, you can just go and explore. This is pretty much like EC2, SNS, S3 bucket, AWS Lambda, AWS CloudFront, CloudWatch. So EC2, what is EC2? EC2 is like just like your remote computer. For example, if you you want to just log into the computer and start using, like you can configure, like whether you want to go for if you want to log into, like you can say terminal or virtual machine kind of concept, where you no need to like again the same concept. You don't need to take care of any physical thing, just you want to just enter username, password, login. So you can choose what kind of operation you want, operating system you want to use. Linux, or it's going to be Amazon. There is one more concept. Amazon came up with one separate for them. It's Amazon RD or something, and or else Windows. So it's up to you which you want to go for. It's just more of like a personal computer kind of concept. So you want to design your own environment, very environment. For example, and if you become a developer, there are some cases where you have to set your environment variables. Java Home, I think you might have heard of Java Home. It's very familiar. If you start developing any small Java program, Java Home is one of them. So those kind of environment variables, which is customizable in EC2. And the SNS is like simple notification server. For example, if I want to notify somebody with some email, I'll give you an example. If you do any transaction in HDFC or any internet banking, you will be notified with some messages, right? Like you credited so much of amount. So much of amount credited in your account. You debited this much of amount, or like when you send a request to somebody in FB, or like somebody sends you a message, you'll be getting notification to your email, or sometimes through messages. So all these things you can do. That is taken care by SWS. And S3 bucket. So S3 bucket is like normal, like your storage unit, like a hard drive, some kind of concept, which you can store anything on this S3 bucket. So that's like normal hard drive. So AWS Lambda is like a normal Java function. It supports multiple languages. It's like a normal function. It's like more of like you don't do any kind of configuration here. You just if you take Java, I'm just giving example on Java. Like you have to do a import statement, the main and if you want to run some program, the class must have main class, or like methods, etc., etc. But in AWS Lambda, nothing. You just have to write the code, whatever code you want to write. If I want to just say hello, I'll just say like system.out.println system hello. Or if you want to write a method to execute anything, if I want to start, I just like only the starting code I will write. I will not write anything else. I don't want to create like class with public class and private accessories and all those like access modifiers. Not more into that. You just write what you want to write. So AWS Lambda take care of taking care of the code and running up and running. So it is like more of saving the time for developers, or like it's more of like making it pretty easy for people to use it. So AWS Lambda is like, it supports a Node.js, Python, and like C Sharp, and Java, different versions. So yeah, that is AWS. It's like to execute any kind of background task, AWS is important thing. It's more of simplifying the thing to make developers to save time, and there is no extra effort need to deploy the program. Or if there is one more concept called test cases. When you become a developer, you will come to know what is test case. Whatever program, whatever method you write, for that you have to write a test case to make sure locally it is running. So those test cases even taken care of by Lambda. So AWS CloudFront, that's a bit extra. I'll just give a clear picture. I'll explain you further. AWS Lambda, what is AWS? AWS CloudFront is like it's again something similar to S3 bucket, but it comes with a lot of more extra functionality, which I'll explain you. CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is another very very important factor in AWS, like which helps you in monitoring. If I'm running any service, any deployment is going on, any service is up and running, or any notification server is there, or if any of my Lambda function is running, so everything you can monitor in CloudWatch. So whether it's working or any problem is there or anything you need to change, so everything is there. So that's what I covered here. So that's a clear picture what is EC2. I'll show you a demo on what is EC2. So this is actually how you are going to access EC2 here. You have a computer, you can internet, you just log in into AWS Management Console, you enter your password, you can access your actual mission. So I'm going to give a demo on that right now. Let's start. Any doubts? You are open to ask now till I log into this and show you. All right, so I consider there is nobody's having doubt. Fine. So first of all, I'll just tell you how to create, Amazon AWS account. It's pretty simple. Like, if you want to create Amazon apps account, you just type very simple in Google. So you'll get an option here. First, I'll show you how to create, then I'll go for the further instructions. And this comes with, okay, I think I logged in. All right, so Amazon comes with multiple options where you can create a free account, or if you want to pay something and create, it's up to your choice. But free account is, you can use it for only maximum 1 year, and after that it's going to be costly, where you can just disable the account by the time. So right now I logged in as a root user, so you can create your account in this way. I'm not going to give a complete demo on that. It's pretty much available everywhere in Google. You just go to YouTube and type how to create account, you will get everything. So I'm just this roles and everything you can do. So you always go for a free service account, which is very important. 1 year you can just explore whatever you want to that. So everything is available already in YouTube. So pretty much easier, because we have just 30 minutes of time. I have some few important things to cover, so I'm not going more deep into that. Fine, I'll just show you how to create a EC2 instance. Okay, let's get started. Might have some patience, it's taking time. So I'm logging in as root user. So root user means like more of admin. So the admin has more control over the account. If you want to delete the account also, you have to log in as a root user. Right, so you can see services here. So this is where you have all the services, Amazon services available. You can see the number of services, everything here, under computing, compute what you have, storage, what you have, governance and everything. So I'm going to start with EC2, a small demo. I'll just try to finish it as soon as possible. So first you will end up in EC2 dashboard. So I'm just checking, I don't have any instance running. So if you go to dashboard, you can see like what are things, up and running, like, instance or like IPs and load balancer. Load balancer is something which is like, once you get into a company, you'll come to know, like, for example, if I'm getting millions of requests at a time, I have multiple servers up and running. So the load balancer, what it does is like it just checks which service is, like having less number of requests or which is available. So it diverts the request to those services. So that's called load balancer. So running instance, there is no running instance. I'm just going to launch one. So I already had one up and running. So we'll start with new in service. So you land here. So here you can, I'm just going for only free tier. So here you have all the options, whether you can choose Linux or like, Ubuntu is there, Red Hat is there. So a lot of versions. So this is Amazon related stuff. To take care of that, I'm just going to start with Microsoft as of now. Windows. Of course, you can start with your Linux as well, but I'm just going to give an actual demo to virtual machine. So that's why I'm going with Windows. Next. So here you can make sure, like, how many instances you want to, run, like 5, 10. I'm just making one as of now. If you want to make 100 also, it is possible, but more than that, you have to, pay for the service. So if you want to make auto scaling, as I said, like if you want to get more number of requests, it is going to increase. So auto scaling takes care of that. So I am just making one, and here this VPC means like if I want to access something outside of my network, so that time I need to configure VPC and everything. So capacity, everything you can change as you want. So this role, I mean, new directory is like if I want to add one more directory along with the EC2 instance, then I can add new directory. IAM is more of like you can in for example in Windows you have you can administrator can add multiple accounts. So similarly I can add multiple accounts based on different restrictions. For child I can install different kind of access. For normal user different, administrator different. So like that you can choose anything as ever you want. So I'm not choosing anything as of now, just like a normal idea. So here it's storage. So whatever size you want to store, I'm just making like 10 as of now. If you want to increase, you can increase more. So your options. So SSD is one of the new concept, in storage. Like, and it's more fast than compared to HDD. I mean, actual hard disk. So this is like a cloud. HDD is one more thing. This one is you can connect your actual hard drive along this. Or cloud, if you're stored somewhere, you can make use of that. So I'm not going to use any of those things now. I'm just going to use simple way of creating instance. So if you want to add any tags, like this is going to be a sample, like available for you, or anything like some value for that. It's sample service, so something like that. So you can add anything, whatever you want, like tags, to make sure when you see that next time, it's easy for you. So here security service, I mean, like you can add the rules, a number of people who can access, or like if you roles, if you see in your college itself, if you want to access any specific website, or like anything specific, you won't be able to access only that administrator access to everything. The administrator he can set the roles for everybody. For professor it will be different. For a principal correspondent, that for them it will be different, roles and responsibilities. For students it's different, so they can set the rules here. I can create one also if you want, and like it's up to me. So I'm just, if you want to add a rule, you can add a rule. So I'm just going to launch it as of now. So just like that. So let's launch. So I'm just going to create, I'm going to give you a demo here. So I'm just creating a new key value pair. So I'm just giving trust EC2 instant. Right. So I'm downloading this. Why I'm downloading this? Because I want to connect through remote. I need this key value pair as it has the password for that. So it's very important you have to download. Okay, I'm launching it now. Right. So we need to change the service. 1 second, guys. 30. That's also, it makes some, I mean, it will take at least a minute or two for this. You can see the status here, initializing status pending, and I mean, alarm status is like if something goes beyond a control, or if it is going to crash, those kind of situations. So let's wait till it's up and running. Just a matter of a minute. So these all are the other public, where you can directly access your EC2. If you have, I mean, you can just enter this in browser and you can start accessing. That's another way. If you have your actual keys and everything running, and you have to configure your, instance in similar way. So now it's running. So let's connect. So this is the actual remote desktop which I'm going to, access through. So okay, so we have to wait for 4 minutes. All right. Any doubts before that? I mean, in between, anything like you want to ask?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a doubt. Is there any limitation for creating number of virtual machines in physical server, sir? Single physical server?
Yes, I mean, see, AWS, I mean, there is no single, it's called. You can create as many number of instance you want, but I mean, as a free user, we have some limit. But when you become a paid customer, of course, you can just, it's as much as possible you want. If you want to create 1,000 virtual machines, it's possible. For example, I'll
Okay.
just give you a real-time example. During this COVID-19 situation, some of the companies are making people from work from home.
Okay,
If some
sir.
companies, somebody is joining as a new employee, the company didn't give a laptop to them, but these people, the resource can log in from their own home laptop and start working. So what company do is company create a virtual machine like this, and they give them user and password, so they can just log in and start working as usual. So that is the actual main use behind this, something called Amazon Workspace. I'll just show you here. So what I have, you
Sir,
see
this
this,
is
right?
based on, does it have any criteria for creating virtual machine? Whether it is based on the memory capacity of our physical machine? Is that like, sir?
Yeah, so except the actual storage, how much you want, like 100 GB, like as I told you, showed you, right? Like 30 GB, 20 GB, 40 GB. Except that, you don't have anything else to mention. RAM and all this stuff, you don't need to worry about anything because it's completely taken care by Amazon. Only thing is you should have enough proper broadband speed. I mean, your proper network speed. So that's very
Okay.
important. Everything else taken care by Amazon
Amazing.
itself.
Okay,
So
sir.
this is
Thank
the actual workspace. I mean, in our case, like, I'll just enter username password. That is called MFA code. I'll just sign in. I can start working. So that's a one of real time example how we are using.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
All right, fine. So
Whether the individual can able to do that, sir, instead of organization?
anybody can do until unless you falls on the free limit. Because as I tell, like, you can create account, but you can use it for only 1 year.
Okay,
Free
sir.
account, and you have
Okay.
some limitation also. Only this much of GB you can use for a month or like whole 1 year of time. You cannot go beyond that. If you go beyond that, they will start charging, because when you create an account, that time itself, Amazon will ask you to enter credit card, debit card information. So if goes more than 1 year of time, and they will just give you notification, else they'll start charging money from there. That's how it actually works. Fine. So I'll just open this
Okay,
file.
sir. So thank you, sir.
Hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes, yes. Sure.
All right. Thank you. So I'm loading this file. Password. Copy. Close. So let's connect. So this is the desktop file, whatever I downloaded, right? So with that, you can connect it. So it'll ask you to enter the password, password, whatever I just copied from there. Right. So that's all. Your system is ready to go. You can start working on the remote. So you can see a complete structure like actual Windows system, which you can see on the screen. And similarly, you can create for Linux and Ubuntu and everything as well. So I want to show one more demo on Ubuntu, but I think we have just 20 more minutes, but I have a lot of things to cover as well. So I'll just show you only on Windows. So that's all. You are ready. You can, just like that, you can just browse, install softwares, whatever you want. But more than 30 GB as what we configured the initial time, you have to pay for it, or like you have to ask subscription for that. So you have everything, network connection, volumes, and all the things, just like your actual operating system. I'll just open this and show you how. Like if you as like if you want to install any of your college software or anything, like Word, Office, anything you want to install, everything you can install just like normally how you use your system, right? So the same way you can use. I'll just show you, like, just like we can open Google as well. Those informations you can see on the right side. So here, so that's all. So that's how we can create instance on EC2. So this information is about available zone. You can see, like, AP means Asia Pacific. So south there they have like 1A, 1B, so something like some 4, 5 are available. So all these things you can see what is your instance name, your EC2 instance, and like as of now, the network performance, the number of access to this, it's very less. The more you can increase later as well, the more it's available to access. So private address, IP address, and public, everything available. So this is actually how you create a normal EC2 instance. Like you can access your system like normal Windows system. It's pretty much possible. But people, when you just try to do a demo on this, make sure once you complete this, you stop the instance, because if the instances keep running, then after a certain limit, it will start consuming. Then you have to pay for it. So I'm just going to stop it right now, or I can say terminate, whatever it is. So that's a small info on how to use EC2. And let's start with the next one. So I'm going to show what is SNS now, a simple notification service, which I told you, like, if I mean anything you change or any transfer you do from your account, you will get a normal a mail. I'm just going to show a demo on that as well. So SNS, you can search here. You can do as a message or mails or anything you can do. So I'm just going to create a topic first, and before you start with any this thing, you have to create a topic first. I'm just giving some random name first. This is like display name if you want to show any normal display name you want to do, and these all are optional. If you want to follow an encryption method to make it more secure, or access policy, as I said, if you want to set some roles and those things, which you can do here. I'm not going to touch any of those things as of now. And what way you want to show it, HTTP or HTTPS, or those things you can mention. Or if you want to log it, you can mention in what way you want to log, or from log you want to trigger something, you want to trigger any other operation, and that also you can do. This delivery status and tags, as we showed before, tags, what you want to show as a tags. I just created that, and I'll just go for subscription. So this is where actually you create one actual notification here. So I'm just creating this. Right now, I'm going to use email, and you have a lot of things like email, JSON, Lambda, HTTP, HTTPS, and a lot of SMS also you can do by giving your phone number. And I'm just giving my email ID here. Right. Before that, let me do one thing. These are a lot of things which I did already, so I'll make sure that I'm not confusing you guys. So when you want to, like any filter policy, you want to redrive, means like if it is not available, it will just go back. So that's called redrive. So I'm creating a subscription here. What happened? Okay, sorry. I think I should select from here. So that this is the topic name, whatever you created. So before you create a subscription, there must be a topic, and the topic name you should select in this drop down button. So I'm just creating a subscription. So that's all. So now it triggered a confirmation to my email ID stating that it needs confirmation to next time to send any, because when you when you registered any website, it will send a confirmation mail, right? So it's similar to that. So if you see here, I got a like a subscription email, so I can just confirm based on this. So that's how it is. So this is called actual SNS. So similarly, you can do for anything, like for example, if my service, if my EC2 instance is up and running, if it goes beyond some certain DB, after that I want 10-20 people to be notified, so I can put everybody's email there, everybody's message, phone numbers there, so everybody will get a mail. So similarly for anything, like if there is anything violates the policy, or if like for example, if somebody's trying to hack my website or anything, physical attack or anything, so which I want to make sure that, I mean IP attack or anything, so I can write a function for that. Through SNS you can implement one Lambda function. In Lambda function you can write the actual code for finding this phishing and attack and all this stuff. So that will trigger notification mail to the administrator network people and everything. So that's called SNS. And next thing what we're going to cover is I mean, I hope you got idea on SNS. Any doubts on SNS?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right. See, actually, this session, I'm just giving only basic things, because this may not be useful for the actual core developers. But if you don't have any idea about AWS, but yes, it will be really helpful for you. It will help you to understand the benefit of actual AWS. So I'm just starting with the next one called S3 bucket. As I told you, S3 bucket is nothing but a normal storage unit. You can store anything as whatever you want, like as I told, any photos, files, or anything. So I'll just show you a demo on how to create S3 bucket. So you just go here, and whatever you recently used, you can see those things on the left side. So I just search for S3. So just click on create bucket. I already created one, so it's better I'll just delete that. So what is ARN? You can see everywhere something called ARN, which is you can see this, right? ARN is like, it's a unique number for any kind of thing, whatever you create in Amazon Web Services. There will be something called ARN. or a number created. With that number only, you can associate one service with one another inside AWS. So I'm creating a bucket here. So I just for demo. You can choose the region, whatever you want to store. So we have, like, if you see, Amazon has installed, a lot of things close to us, like Mumbai, Singapore, Sydney. So all these services, I mean, these are like local storage unit services which is available very close. The reason, the main important thing is, like, accessing a file from Europe and accessing a file from Singapore or Mumbai is has a lot of difference. Singapore, Mumbai means, like, it's pretty close to me. I can easily access. It's available. Fast delivery is possible. So that's what actually Amazon is doing. Like, whenever you store something in your bucket or anything in your AWS, it does, it just go and interact with that. It create a cache. It stores in the cache. Cache means, like, I mean, you must be knowing, like, what we do in cache. Like, if you access any website, your browser stores a cache. So next time when you try to access, it takes in information from that cache, and it shows to you until unless there is any update on the actual website. So what it does is, like, if you store any files, it's same files are already available. So it will take the files from cache and it will show you very fast. If you update anything, then next time it has to go and hit the server, fetch it, and show it to you. So mostly what it does, it follows the cache mechanism. So whatever file you store, it just immediately it interacts with the actual service and actual server, and it create a cache in the local. And in AWS, it stores as a cache. Whenever you try to access, it gets the information from the cache. But next time when you store something new, and it takes some time to go for a cache. So that's how it is. Cache means, like, you're creating a local instance for that, so it's easy access anytime you create. So you can choose any region you want. It's up to you. And if you want to, if you already created any bucket, if you want to copy the same settings here, that you can do. It will show only if you have a bucket. So next, any configuration you want to do for logging. This is like, if I keep on changing, my bucket names or any other changes, so it will track of all the versions. Or if you want to let this, bucket available for logging, like, as in, if you want to, keep tracking of the service and everything, what is the health and everything, that time you can go for, this logging. So I'm just not going to use it as of now. So this is like, you can make use for public, like, if you want to access something, so that is available to, it's not secure, but if you want, you can make use of it. I'm just choosing public as of now. All right, so I'm just creating a bucket. That's all. Your bucket is ready, and you can store whatever you want to store in this bucket. So I'm just going to store, like, excuse me. So I'm just going to store 2-3 files. I mean, it has complete like drag and drop things here. Normal, how you drag and drop, the same way you can drag and drop here as well. So I just drag and drop these 2 files. You can directly upload, or if you want to choose next steps one by one, who all are can, like, manage user, who are can read, write, any restriction you want to add, or like, if you have multiple AWS account, who all are want to access those things, and that also they can do. I mean, you can manage the settings here. So I'm just using a standard one. I mean, it's going to access frequency in such a way. You can choose as how you want to choose. That's your choice. It will show you the files, details, and encryption if there is any encryption mechanism installed. So now you can see the status. These files are uploaded. So a similar way, you can install you can upload any file, whatever you want. So that's all pretty much about what is actually S3. And see how it actually works is like, you can see it here. So this is how it actually works. So you have S3, and there is a bucket, and there is a folder. You can create a folders also, how we create in our local system. And the folders has objects, like whatever files you store, that's called objects. If you want to access publicly, you can do it with system, and these all are the actual configuration details. If you want to put any keys, or like, any encryption mechanism or anything, that you can do. So next we are going to cover what is AWS Lambda, which is, as I said, normal, just a small function. You can just make use of it. You can see like a simple a picture on this, like, how it actually works. So Amazon Kinesis is like, it's like actually stream, whatever thing you want to store as a streaming information, that you can store in Kinesis. That's how you can trigger AWS Lambda function from anywhere, like, from SNS also you can trigger, or if something goes beyond the limit, if you want to trigger some function and stop some service, that way also you can do. So I'm going to show a small demo on that. It's, I mean, takes less than 2-3 minutes. So You just search. So it's like, I mean, to actually direct, not like write a program or something, just direct functions. You just create a function. So this is like actually from scratch means you choose like, I mean, you can write like, you can write your own code, or like, you can choose everything. So that is actually from scratch. Or blueprint means there will be something already available. For example, these, things, if you see here, there are some actual functions which is already defined. So you can make use of these things, like if you want to create a endpoint with microservices, so you can directly start, use and select this. And now I just select to go for hello world. I'll just go for the next option. That's much easy. So hello world, you can choose as, like, if you have multiple choices to choose, and languages you can see here which language is Python. This is like Node.js, so you can choose anything. There is one more option. I'm going to show that demo on that one only. So this is like once you create, it will deploy the program automatically. So you no need to do take care of any deployment function here. Once you create, you select the function, it deploys those things automatically. So it's like, that's called serverless. You no need to maintain any server. You just create the program, you just like just deploy that automatically. So I'm just selecting hello world now. So you can see, so this is the actual code called GitHub. You people might have heard it, like, this we use for storing code and everything. So the actual code for, that you can find here. And if you want to add any templates, or permissions and those things, you can add here in this as well. So just like, it's identify name parameter, some unique name I'm going to add. And that is very important. It's a required field, you cannot so deploy. So what is happening here, this current lambda function, it is actually getting deployed in the server. So I'm not doing any extra deployment work here, like, selecting the location, choosing the file, and selecting the configuration, service and everything. I'm not doing anything here. You can see it just got deployed just like that. So the same one I'm updating. So I'm doing updating it here. So next, test app. What is test app? It's like, you are going to test the app, and whether it is working or not, and those kind of things which is happening. So let's wait for this to progress. Once you create an app or anything, like any simple function, by clicking on this test app, you can test it. So these all are the extra plugins available for your IDE. You people heard of, like, IntelliJ, or like, Eclipse, and you can just add a plugin for this, and you can start working from there as well. So this one I created, I'm choosing this. Okay, 1 second, what happened? Okay, something went wrong. Just give me a minute. Or else we'll do one thing, we can try this as well, which is already up and running. Okay. Any doubts in between? It takes time. Right, so I'll take it as no. Okay, all right. I'll do one thing. I'll just create from this different name. I think it's because of the name. Any doubts on Lambda? If you have.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, regarding EC2,
Okay.
that is Elastic Cloud Compute. Am I right, sir?
Yeah. Yeah.
EC2.
Yeah. Yeah.
EC2. Sir, in that you have used the load balancing concept.
Okay.
Any specific technology you have used for load balancing of cloud resources, sir? In
No,
Amazon.
we are not using any specific technology. I mean, I don't know what what do you actually mean by technologies. So I just want to get clear.
Technologies means what kind of concepts you have used under load balancing. There are so many concepts are there
Yeah.
regarding
So
we
they
have to
are
modify VMs, or we are reallocating the VMs, like that. You have to balancing the loads
correct.
among.
Correct. So in this case, AWS takes care of everything. I mean, like when I say like load balancing taken care of AWS, you don't see the actual picture behind what is happening on all those things. So those load balancing techniques, everything can be taken care by AWS itself, which is a background task. So it's like the more number of instances you create, that load balancer will take care of routing to them. Or if you make it as auto scaling, so AWS, that load balancer will take care of diverting this your traffic or request for them automatically. So which is not we don't need to worry about all those stuff, like that is completely taken care by AWS itself.
Okay, the instance is nothing but the job that is services that is given by the cloud users. Am I right, sir? Instance is
Correct.
the
So for
job
example, if a
request.
company, that's right. So for example, if a company has 100 employees, so it can create 100 instances for those employees.
Okay, sir.
So similarly, for one EC2 instance, I can create, creating 100 virtual machines are different, and
Okay.
creating 10 instance for one virtual machine is different. So one instance, one EC2 instance, 10 instance means like if one of the instance is down, still the person can be able to access his own virtual machine just as a normal way, because he no need to worry about whether it is down or not. If you create multiple instances, even if it is down, still the person can be able to access, he can continue his normal work. So that's how it
Okay.
is. So the
Okay.
difference is a company can create 100 virtual machines, and exactly 100 virtual machine can have 1,000 or 10,000 instances up and running. For every virtual machine, you can create multiple instances.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So
Thank you.
yeah, so let's go with this one. So you can see the actual code here, whatever I created. If you want to add, you can add. So the technology supports by this thing, everything is here. And the other thing is, the benefit about AWS Lambda is like you can just create a test case in a click, just like that. Because as a developer, we just take some time to create test cases, so you can write everything here. So a test case, I'm just creating sample. So test case, I'm just creating, and I'm just going to open run this. So if you want to make this, so like what is trigger here means like from you can trigger any operation from AWS Lambda, as I said, like whether if you want to create a gateway, or like if you want to do some CloudWatch logs, or like if you want to trigger some DB operations, or any kind of streaming you want to do, or like SNS S3 bucket storage you want to trigger, or like any message you want to trigger, anything you can do from this trigger operations. So that is very handy with you. So I created a test case. I'm going to test this now. So you can see the logs here, so which will show you whether it is up and running or not. Actually, you can see here itself. So you can see the value. We gave value 1, 2, 3, right? So the test cases, you can see that here as well. And anyway, I'll show you in this cloud. So this is how your log usually appears. And so I'll just click on. You can see the latest and date, everything mentioned for that, the current time. So this is how it actually, though if you see this, of loading function, our first line, so you can see the whole application is up and running. So we gave 3 values in the test, and you can see all the 3 values here. So this is how you can just creating test cases. And since you guys are in college, so you may not be aware of this stuff, but like once you get into IT and developing, or if you know what is actually test case, this will be really useful. You can just create a test case just like that. You don't need to worry about anything. So that's very much handy for you guys. So that's about AWS Lambda. Like this, you can trigger any function, and apart from that, there's one more super cool function in AWS is you can upload any file, whatever you want inside this. Whether it's going to be you're going to upload any file from S3 bucket, as I showed you before, or any file directly from your local system. Still, you can do that. So just click on upload. You can upload the file. You can choose the languages, whatever you want. So everything is handy for you. It's like all you have to do is you don't need to worry about any time, like opening the like ID takes 5 times to load, and start writing main functions, methods, blah blah blah, and those stuffs. It's very very simple and handy for you guys to use. So next, CloudFront. Actually, this is a bit lengthy topic. I'll just, I mean, since I thought of giving detail, but since we have less time, so I'm going to cover it. A simple idea. So you can see this slide. So this is called, you can see regions and edge locations. So regions means what are things got covered, and edge locations is where we have everything, all the servers, like edge location means it's a part of covering all the regions. So we have edge locations everywhere. Like now I think by the time they might have increased the number of edge locations and regions as well. So this is the current picture of Amazon CloudFront, and this is how actually it works. So whenever you send a request to access any file from CloudFront, first it routes to the actual edge location, and it finds in the edge location itself which is more close to you. I mean, distance it will find. So based on that, it will send you the value. I mean, that's called more availability. So you can see the bottom picture, which gives you clear idea. You send a request, and edge location will have the file cache file or actual file installed, and it will fetch the file, and the request from edge location goes to the actual Amazon S3 origin server. If it is already cached, it will come directly to you immediately, or it will take just microseconds or milliseconds for you to bring the file back to you. So this is how actually it works. So with the CloudFront, you can do any, you can see in the top, like with this HTML file, you want to deploy your own website or videos or softwares or any web application. Like even FB, you can do it from CloudFront. FB whole application, it's a web application, so that also you can do from CloudFront, like Twitter or anything. So I mean, right now they are not using it, but still I'm telling. So those kind of web applications you can make use of CloudFront. So that's all. More, I mean, like I just want to give a small demo, but I'm not sure whether I have enough time on that. So I'll just show you like how it actually works. Sorry you guys for taking time on that. All right, so let's go for CloudFront. It's more of like a content delivery network. So it means whatever content you want, so you get it delivered. So before you create any distribution in CloudFront, you should have a bucket created, and the bucket should have some files. It's up to you. So I have already one up and running. Why I'm not doing is, like, if I create one, it takes 10 minutes to deploy. So I'll just show you how to create. So this RTMP is like, this is more of streaming data. If you want to stream anything, like data should go on continuously runtime, then you go for this. Now we don't have that situation, so you can see the like what are the benefits of this one. You just get started, and this name is the actual S3 bucket name, whatever you want to give. And these are the default. If you want to change, you can change. I think what is get put. So get means you want to read something, put means you want to like create something, and it's like post means you create something and update. So that's how it works. So those kind of things are given here, and restrictions and everything you can allocate. So since I already created, if I create distribution, click on, it will take 12 minutes to deploy. So what I'll go is I'm going to show a demo on what I already created. So this one distribution which I already created, it's up and running. So let's click on that. So this is the actual public URL which you can see. You can directly access. I don't know how I can access. I'll just try to show if we can access that. Try. Right, so access denied. Now what I have is index.html. So I mean, generally what happens is, like, I mean, now I think I didn't give the actual information given. So or what is that file name? We can try that as well. Sorry, 1 second. Files, first file.png. Okay. Okay, so actually you should be able to access. I think while creating, I didn't give this to public access, so it's not able to accessible now. So similarly, when you actually enter, give and enter this, whatever the files available in the bucket, it should be appear here. So because if you see here, while creating the bucket, whatever we chose, okay, so it's here. So the bucket, whatever we chose, and the files inside the bucket, everything should appear here. You can just go and select, and whatever operation you want to do, you can do. So that's called actually CloudFront. So it's more of web related stuff. And last, and okay, CloudWatch. This is, as I told you, like, it's more of like monitor your service, the service which is up and running, to monitor the health, how it is running, what are things to happen. So this is, like, you can see. If I have EC2 instance or any other instance up and running, it will check the health. You have multiple things like yellow, red, and like green. There is one more called green. So based on the situation, it triggers its own automatic. There is a way of you can do the automatically, or if you want to do trigger any send notification mail to people, or like if you want to manage or you own, so everything you can configure as how you want. So this is how it actually happens. Sometimes if it is red, it takes care of the troubleshooting functionality, everything on its own, and it will try to fix it. And when the situation it's not able to fix it, then it just goes beyond and send notification and make sure the people up and running. So similarly, there is one more situation as I told. uh, like one is troubleshooting and taking care of it own. If you see the last part, notifying the operation team, this is a manual operation where it will send the notification from SNS. So the operation team will come to know it's down, so they'll just go and start like up, make it up and running, or like they can fix it. So that I'll show you. It's not a, it's just a matter of minutes, so I'll show you that how it actually works. CloudWatch. Right. So this is how actually a CloudWatch page looks like. If if there's a multiple services, you can add more services you want, and you can see all the different multiple options, like the rules, whatever you want to connect. If you have created multiple instant to tracker or metrics you define, and like number of requests or beyond certain limit when you want to trigger notification, or whether you want to set as a red, green, and everything you can take it. So you can see here. Now I'm just going to click on EC2 since we created one instance. So you can see the complete picture of EC2, like how much CPU it created, how much it read. Now, we are not using much, so it's not showing anything. But this is how it actually appears. The health, all the things you can check here. So you can see the the status of the services, what is up and running. Maybe if it is up and running, I should be able to see something here. But since we just stopped it, we are not able to see that. So you can monitor. So generally, the main great thing about CloudWatch is like, let's take I'm running 100 virtual machines, and to monitor the health status, just like be a human or some operation team, for them it's pretty difficult, right? Because 100 machines must be having 1,000 instance up and running, and for them to monitor the health when it is going down, up, it's very, very difficult. It's a very complicated task. But if you have this running, you just click on the page, you see everything, whether it's done green or red or yellow, whatever it is. If it is yellow, act on that, fix it immediately. If it is red, just go and trigger, heal it automatically and function. So that's how it is. So more of like monitoring is very much saved here. Like the human, like for example, if I'm working as a network developer, generally if someone network developer, they have to available 24/7 all the time. And but these kind of situations, when you implement that, the burden whatever you impose on the network administrator person, it is very much less. So like mostly it has auto healing functions available, or else you will get notified when it is down. You don't need to be keep concentrating on the stuff. So whenever it is down, you just just go and see and fix it, or you have option, you can just log into remote and just fix it. So that is more of like completely easy to use, and it's very much flexible. So that is all about the things what I want to cover. There are a lot of stuff important, like if you say DynamoDB in AWS, so all those things are there. That is like I don't want to get into DB stuff right now, because once you get into a proper developer, then you have a lot of stuffs like that. So you can see everything. So I said 160 plus services. I just covered only what is important, what I want to give a basic information on that. So that's all. I hope I covered a little bit. So the current status of AWS, why AWS is actually better, and what was the standard before 2018-19, and the current status, like you can see, because in 2018-19 still it was high, and the competitor of Azure was like almost, they were covering it very well. But Amazon now has implemented a lot of stuff inside, like making it pretty much easy for the people, available, easy to use, flexible, and you just no need to pay for what you use, and scale, you do scaling everything automatically. So it has implemented a lot of benefits. So that's why it's still number one on the market. So personally, I would suggest to the people whoever going to be graduate or still studying, and the current trend, I would say, of course, Java is basic. If you know Java, you can learn anything. If you want, full stack developer is, it's not about this complete AWS. I'm just giving a general idea on that. So if you want to be a proper developer, first you learn Java or any other language. You have nowadays, like you have Kotlin similar to Java, or those kind of things. But still, if you learn Java, if you want to be a UI developer or you want to be a full stack developer, that is pretty easy. If you are if you are already a UI developer, you are more interested in UI things, that's fine. But when you want, because market is doing more, I mean, moving towards more into full stack developers. The trend big for full stack developers becoming very high. If you're a full stack developer, you have the lot of like possibilities to go into big companies, or like getting possibilities to like, I mean, earn very well, to be frank, because end of the day it's more of what you earn. Of course we have a passion to be a programmer developer, but end of the day what you earn is matters, right? So I mean, I would say first basic thing, learn Java, my personal advice. Of course you'll be having second thoughts, of course nothing wrong in having second thoughts. Learn Java. Anything beyond that to learn is easy, because converting from full stack, I mean, like UI developer to a backend developer is very difficult. But backend developer, I mean Java developer from to full stack or UI developer is easy, because Java has everything covered, like there's objects or instances or functions or anything, Java covering everything. So I would say this is learn Java. From there, learning everything is pretty easy. And apart from that, yeah, of course, current trend, if you say more, they're moving into data science side. So if people are more interested to learn data science, it's very good. Keep learning, go for do some course and that thing. And apart from that, Python, Amazon, AWS is a perfect combination. Python is one of the highly like trend in the market. So learn Python. And of course AWS is like any company, if you go, either it's going to be a primary skill or secondary skill, they ask for him. I'm talking about people like me as well, who is 5-6 years experience, who is 2-3 years experience. Everywhere by default it is option coming as AWS. You do know AWS? Do you know how to deploy in AWS? Do you know what is the Lambda in AWS? So that's a basic question, especially if you want to get into big companies. I mean, Java is basic, as I said. Apart from that, whatever you learn beyond, like the current trend market, that's very important. And apart from that, one more advice I want to give, like after 5 years, if once you get yourself, I mean, I'm not talking about the people who's going to plan a business, or like of course there are people who have mind in business or something. If you want to go as a developer or programmer or any other, like you are just so much keen into being a developer, make sure after every 2 years or after every year you are on the track. I mean, you are up to date on the market. Because after 3 days, if you are not up to date in the market, of course there is a lot of possible company wants someone who is on up to track and who is on, like on up to date, like knowledge. So that's very, very important. So if you are on knowledge, I mean, you might be hearing like companies firing 100 employees, 1,000 employees, 2,000 employees. So I mean, I'm not blaming everybody, but some of the people might be who is not up to date. There will be real situation where they'll be firing. But if you are on up to date, the possibility of getting fired, or like like something called pink slip concept. Pink slip concept means like you just come to office, they'll say, come on man, we don't want you, just go to home. So like the situation. So those things you can avoid. So personally, be on track, up to date, learn the technologies, whatever is on the market. So make sure you are going on the track. So that is very, very important for people who want to be a aspirant into developer kind of thing. So mainly I would say first Java. I mean, my suggestion, I would say, since I'm a Java developer, of course if you want to go to DB, you no need to Java and all. But if you want to go be a full stack developer or anything, learn Java, basic things about Java, fundamentals of Java, and I would say OOPS concept or core Java concepts and everything. So and then Python is very important. Just go do a course. And like I said, like any cloud service, whether it's going to be AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, anything, but AWS is top on the market. So that's all I want to cover. So any questions or anything, you are open to ask. And I'm sorry I took, I think, extra 13 minutes. So if you have anything, you can ask. Anybody?
Right, sir?
Hello, Shiva,
Yes,
can
yes,
you hear
I can
me?
hear.
Yeah, there are some of the questions for
Please.
you. How to host a website in AWS?
As I said, like in CloudFront, you just upload your file, and there are multiple ways where you can. I mean, if I want to show the demo, it will take a lot of time. So I'm sorry. I'll just tell you in words. In CloudFront, you can upload your files. I mean, one of the main feature of CloudFront is you can load your website as well. So that is another very important function. So you can just upload whatever files you want to give, and then mention this index file location. And you have like what do you call, I think putty service something. So you, from that trigger, you can directly load your website. So I would say, I would suggest people, YouTube has everything. If you want to do for data structure algorithm, because in my case, when I was doing graduation, I was not much aware of what is YouTube. Like, I mean, I know what was YouTube, but like I mean, I was not having where to find those steps, how to search that, and all those things. But now, though, you are very much experienced. I mean, they are very much into up to date. So you just go to YouTube. YouTube has everything. You just search. You will get all the stuff, whatever you want. I mean, data algorithm might be sound like very complex for people in second year, third year. You just go to YouTube. People are explaining. You can understand the concept in a minute, just like that. So you just make use of it. So as like similar thing. So you just put your all HTML file, CSS file, whatever you want in the bucket in the actual location. You give the location. You can see your website up and running. Main thing is the basic URL, whatever I showed you. 1 second, I'll show you that. Not this one. Okay, I think I stopped my screen sharing. 1 second. Okay, I'm still presenting. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So as I showed you before, S3 bucket should have all of your contents with the proper folder structure and everything. So you give this URL. Now it's not accessible. I said you give this URL and your website location, which will help you to access your website just like that. Pretty much easy. So previously we used to have a lot of difficulties in hosting a website. That's not the case here. You just even website developing also you can do it in Amazon Web Services. So it's that much easy now.
Yeah.
I hope
Fine,
I answered your question.
Yeah, sir. There is another question, Shiva.
Please.
Where can one learn AWS properly? Is there any proper website or any thing for learning?
My suggestion:
AWS?
best YouTube. Always YouTube. But if you're a person who can just pay small penny, like 200, 300 rupees, there is called a website called Udemy. Like you can, when you open, you can see like they are the most giving advertise for YouTube. So this website has course for 100 rupees, 200, 500 rupees. Still you can learn. If you want to go to more professional, and if you want to add those stuffs in your profile, LinkedIn has a yearly subscription 1,600, 700 days. I'm also a prime member in LinkedIn. So pay 1,600 rupees. You have a lot of things accessible in LinkedIn. So once you complete the course, the certification will be automatically added into your LinkedIn page. So that is another option. If you want to just only learn the Udemy. If you don't want to pay, Udemy, like if you want to pay, you just want to learn basic things in Amazon, like about AWS. YouTube is the best thing. You have everything. If you can just search for one by one service, it has everything. Apart from that, the main thing is it's not about just looking into the videos and like oh my god, I'm done. It's about implementing it. It's just about working on it. So that is very, very, very important. Hands-on experience is must. You might have you can see like 100 videos in a day, but end of the day, if after 2 days, 3 days, you won't be able to remember anything unless you do it hands-on. So hands-on is very, very important. Hands-on means like you do it on your own. So that's very important. You can make a note of things, YouTube or Udemy, or else like I would say 1,600 bucks is not a, I mean, I don't know whether it is costly or not, but when a certification can be added into your profile, it has a lot of values. If you're a professor, if you're going to some big universities, obviously when you present your LinkedIn profile, they see all this stuff. If you are a fresher, if you have these certificates added in your profile, when you present your profile to them, they will be attracted. If you're a developer experience, you can just give your LinkedIn profile, they can see all the certifications in your profile. So that's the best option, I would say.
Thank you, Shiva.
Yeah.
Participants, is there any questions for you? Okay, fine. Thank you, Shiva. I kindly request HOD ma'am for provide the word of thanks.
Good morning, all. On behalf of our management, principal, and Department of Information Technology, dear participants, we thank you all for your active participation in our webinar, AWS. Mr. Shiva sir, we had really an amazing and wonderful session, sir. It was very interesting. Thank you so much, sir, for your contribution. And I wish to thank all our faculty members and Mr. Durai Armugam for wonderfully organizing this webinar. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Shiva sir.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much. And yeah, so it was a great session. And thanks for all the people here. And I'm sorry that I disturbed all of you on Saturday. I mean, so it's generally a taking rest kind of day. And I want to say thanks for Durai as well. Helping me to interact with people. So Durai, Mr. Durai, thank you so much for this session as well, conducting this session and making use of the sessions as well. I hope it is really useful. And in case if I missed something, I'm sorry. Like if any open questions, you can just contact me through Durai. So I'm just open, free to answer any kind of questions.
Sure. Thank you, Shiva. Participants, I have posted the feedback link in the comment box. Kindly fill for getting the e-certificate. Thank you. Thank you for all.
Thanks all. Thank you so much, Shiva.
Thank you, Shiva.
Thank you all.